Yo, yo, yo! What's up, college football fans? It is the Mac and Murray College Football Show, and we are live currently on Twitter. If you miss us, we'll be back on YouTube, posting it later on tonight. I got a lot to break down. We'll be breaking down the newest rankings and the playoffs, give our thoughts about that, who has a chance to move up, who's out of it, what we liked, what we didn't like from the new committee who has a new chair now with Mac Rhodes in the axe there after last week, after who knows what happened, unfortunately. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some of the latest when it comes to college football coaches, where people are moving, where people should be moving to. Virginia Tech has their new head coach. Ton of drama around Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. Did he get the ultimatum? Did he not? Is he kind of being forced to make a decision? We get all the latest on that. And then on the back end, we'll talk about our week 13 preview, kind of a chill week. I know a lot of people love to hate on the SEC because they use this week as kind of a get right week and get healthy before the last week of the season. I call it smart. Other people call it cheating, but whatever. We can have that discussion later on as well. But we'll be breaking down the top games heading into the weekend. Before we get into the rankings, obviously, as we always do, EMAC, welcome to the show. Where are you going to be this weekend?
Going down to Hotlanta, baby. Great to see you. Great to talk about
Here
some
we go.
football here as the Yellow Jackets, I'm coming down to your neighborhood, as the Yellow Jackets can clinch with a big win as they play the Pitt Panthers, who are going to be limping into Atlanta after that ass kicking
Mhm.
from Notre Dame there that they received back at home. And, just to see, are they, interested in taking a step forward, or, is this kind of going to be a free fall, because it looked like old Heinschel, Mason Heinschel, the true freshman quarterback there for Pitt, he got pretty shell shocked, against this Notre Dame team. And so, what does that look like for their next two games? Obviously, they play two big dogs in the ACC right now with the, you look at the 16th ranked Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets and then the 13th ranked Miami Hurricanes to finish the season there. So pretty big two games here for Pittsburgh to finish the year.
Yeah, we'll be breaking down that game here in a little bit. I'll be heading to Rice, North Texas, at Rice, North
Come
Texas,
on.
not ranked. They were ranked in the AP, not
I
ranked
think
in
I
this.
hate that. I hate that. When we
I
have
was a
these
little
teams, we're just throwing
shocked.
up there. Like, come on, man. Give them some love.
They got Tulane right now in the American ahead of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Tulane coming at the number 24
Which that's a
spot.
big
So,
deal for these conferences because it's
uh,
it's the highest ranked conference
yeah,
champion that gets that. So JMU, for the conference there just on the outside looking in for the Sun Belt. I know a lot of
I
people are probably
know.
going to be upset about that too.
Yeah, I thought, and there's still obviously chance for chaos in the American, and Jamie obviously needs it based on kind of I would say the perception of those 2 conferences, and I mean, the American's been really good. I mean, American's been good early in the season. We thought USF was gonna be the team, then Memphis. You just look at the talent of teams in that conference compared to the Sun Belt, obviously lean more to the American, and that obviously gives you the sense that, hey, the winners kind of been through more of a gauntlet, have proven themselves a little bit more than, say, a JMU. I like JMU. I had an opportunity. I mean, I've covered a lot of these teams. I covered JMU. This will be my second time covering North Texas. I've covered Tulane in their win versus Duke. Really good football teams. Like, I would love to see any of them in that spot. So a
Yeah.
lot can be had. Just at the end of the day, for these teams, Tulane, North Texas, JMU, you just got to win, and you win out. At least put yourself in the conversation to be that team when it's all said and done. But let's get into it. I'm actually going to bring up um, the notes real quick so we could see the rankings. Look at us being a little bit
Oh
snazzier over
no.
here. Look at that. Look at that. All right, here we go. Um, let's go through it as we always do. Start from the bottom, work our way up. Arizona State, Tulane, Houston, Missouri, Illinois, all new inside the top 25, at least this week, back in there. The one that really jumps out to me is Missouri, mostly because of obviously their big game this weekend versus Oklahoma. Is the committee kind of trying to make a possible Oklahoma win look even better?
They wouldn't do that.
Oklahoma, I don't
What do
think
you
Oklahoma.
mean? They wouldn't do that.
I don't even think Oklahoma really needs it though, do they? Like, I think you
No.
going into T-Town and winning, against Alabama was as much as you possibly needed a
Mhm.
week ago. But I mean, I guess adding another one, if you do win, another ranked win would go a long way as well. So we'll be able to break that game. But Missouri coming off a massive, I wouldn't say massive win, but they destroyed Mississippi State. So any thoughts on 21 through 25?
Yeah, other than just, not seeing a JMU or not seeing a North Texas,
Yeah.
um, which I think that exactly what you just said is the reason why those teams aren't ranked, because it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't boost any resume like maybe it does when you rank Missouri. So, it's one of those things that you just wish that they would, get some credit and see that, but it is what it is. That'll all shake out. So no real quarrel with these teams, being ranked where they are other than that.
Yeah, I think North Texas should be in there. Maybe I'm just bi I would love to be able to say I called another, college football playoff team, ranked
Yeah.
team this
Yeah.
weekend.
Because
So,
if not, like, if we're not gonna rank them, then just why is the G5 in anyway? You're just gonna
I
have
know, it just feels like
one
they're
rank
just like,
just get
"Oh,
them
we'll
out.
we'll
Let
we'll
them
just
have
put
their own
one
national
G5 team in
championship.
there." No, I'm
Right.
with you.
Just let them have their own natty. Just have enough
And they've
different
been
thing, like
rolling
I
too.
said.
I would put them ahead of a few of those teams.
Right.
They're in that 21 through 25 spot. All right, let's go to our next grouping, 16 Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is
Yeah.
just stuck. And maybe they win this weekend and that changes. Texas with a massive drop back 7 spots to number 17, Michigan at 18, Virginia at 19, and Tennessee moves up 3 spots to that number 20 spot. I think the big thing and big question is can Texas get into the playoffs after what happened this weekend
No,
against Georgia?
they can't.
I'm with you. No, I don't think they deserve it. I
Mhm.
don't care if they beat Texas A&M in a week and a half from now. I think Texas at 9-3 after just getting throttled by Georgia 30 was it 35-10?
Yeah.
Just embarrassed. I mean, just absolutely embarrassed. Does not deserve to be in the playoffs. So
Mhm.
I hope this is far enough down the list where even a win against the Aggies in a week and a half still would not catapult them into the top 12. And
Correct.
I don't think you can jump them up that far. Do you?
No, I don't think so, especially how far they fell. I mean, that was pretty substantial. That was a big drop. I mean, same thing that we see with Bama here. I think the most we'd seen someone drop so far is maybe 5.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty severe, drop there. But again, you had 3 wins and we didn't think, or 3 losses. We didn't think you should be that high anyway. So
No.
this feels like a little bit of a correction there. And who knows, maybe they honestly should be a little bit further down when you see just how they play. We just unfortunately do not believe in this offense right now. We got a little
No.
excited when they played Mississippi State and they played Kentucky and Vanderbilt. They look nice, but at the end of the day, look at who they're playing, look at that opponent, and really get a grasp on who they are. Now the defense is still, they show some things here and there, but for them to get housed, for that to be the best side of the ball and those guys get 35 put on them by a Georgia team, that's kind of a big deal. So I'm going back to Georgia Tech, though, man, as I probably
Mm.
typical people listening and watching,
But
for me
I'm
to
with you on
do.
Georgia Tech though. Like I mean, we've been high on Georgia Tech for weeks now, and we've had
Yeah,
them in our playoff, in our
yeah.
top 12, in our top 10 for well over a month.
Mhm, mhm.
And the committee just does not have the same
And I think what's
love.
unfortunate, like the timing of the loss for Georgia Tech could not have
Yeah.
been worse
Yep.
because that was the first ranking. Like we didn't have any idea what the committee felt about them
Mm-mm.
beforehand because that was the first ranking and clearly we see this guy go on there and say the dumbest things that's inaccurate that they got dominated on both sides of the ball. So now I'm already questioning, have you watched Georgia Tech at all?
Mm-mm.
So that's what stinks for them is we have no clue what they thought about them beforehand. But maybe it is telling that he said that that week because it was obviously false and highly incorrect. So I would just encourage them to pay attention
Yep.
to Georgia Tech, especially if they take care of business this weekend, against a good Pitt team there that was clearly a resume booster, for a team like Notre Dame for them staying where they were with a lot of other movement around them. But that defense is concerning to me. They have
Yep.
got to figure it out. We'll talk about that game here in a second.
Yeah, I think for Georgia Tech, the big message is, you win, you're in. You win the ACC, you're
Correct.
in. You
Correct.
don't win, you're out. So I think that is as simple as it can be for the Yellow Jackets of, does it matter that we're ranked 16th? If we win this weekend, we beat Pitt, we're in the ACC championship game. doesn't really matter if we beat Georgia or not. If we win the ACC, we're in. Obviously, if you beat Georgia and you win the ACC championship game, then all of a sudden you're talking about a team that may be having a home playoff game, which
Mhm.
would be incredible for that team. But instead, to me, it's kind of like just win, you're in, probably get somewhere in that 10 to 12 range, but you're in the playoffs.
Right.
And that's kind of where you and I have them right now. I think we have them around that 10, 11 spot
Mhm.
where we believe Georgia Tech should be, but the committee needs to see a little bit more from them. All right, let's move up to our next five. BYU 11, Utah 12, Miami moving up 2 spots to 13, Vandy 14, and then Southern Cal at 15, moving up 2 spots. Obviously, they have a massive game this weekend. We'll talk about that one against Oregon, who's at the number 7 spot. The big thing that we're always going to talk about is Miami. And I'll say this. So I was someone earlier today about this, EMAC. Miami feels a lot like Ohio State a year ago,
Mhm.
where you look at the roster and you're like, they're so talented at
Yeah.
offensive line, at defensive line, at the receiving position. Obviously, we know Carson has a little bit ups and downs, but when he's playing up, it is as good as anyone else in the country when it comes to throwing the football. He's just got to obviously eliminate those games where it's like 4 interceptions. Like, what are we doing? But the talent is there. There's no doubt about it. Just like a year ago, Ohio State, we knew was one of the most talented teams in America. They were 10-2, didn't make it to their conference championship game. You had those 2 losses, and the one loss to obviously Michigan at the end of the season. And it was like, do they deserve to get in? Do they not? They got in and ended up winning a national championship. So
Right.
they give me a lot of Ohio State vibes
Mm.
as we're getting closer and closer to it. But the problem is, where does the committee view the ACC? And if obviously Georgia Tech wins out, or at least wins the ACC, or whoever wins the ACC, they get in. Is Miami going to be able to find a way into the playoff based on the teams that are ahead of them right now?
Right.
Because they need help.
Well, I think what's interesting is we've seen the committee now in 2 weeks move them up 5 spots.
Yep.
And it's not like they've had these big, nasty, impressive ranked matchups. They've just been killing people. And 2 weeks in a row now, we've seen them win by 30 plus. And that's a big deal because that just shows style points matter.
Yep.
It shows that the eye test matters. And I highlighted these two teams on your screen here as you guys are looking at with me. They're getting closer and closer to Notre Dame. I think honestly, one more spot, if they get to 12, if they get within, reach there of 3 spots, you got to start flipping those because on the field products matter. And when you
Yeah.
look at their record, when you look at their schedule, obviously they have the head to head. That's a big deal that
Yep.
Miami beat Notre Dame, a Notre Dame team in the top 10 here. And guess what? Notre Dame has an ACC schedule. So you can't sit here and tell me that they play, so many other harder people that Miami doesn't, because Miami played an SEC team that beat Texas, that this darling Texas team that the College Football Playoff Committee loved so much to have in there. Miami beat them by 20 and just clobbered those guys. So when I look at that and I look at, ranked wins and things of that nature, these guys have 4 wins. Miami does in the FPI, which is another fun, statistic thing, in the top 35. Notre Dame only has 1, and that's
Yep.
USC. When you look at wins versus the top 25 at the time of the game, which is very important to a lot of people. Miami has 3, Notre Dame only has 2. When you look at the common opponents of NC State, which there's another one coming up in Pittsburgh in a couple of weeks, Miami here won 41-7. Notre Dame won 36-7. What's more impressive? What's more wins there? So it's just starting to really stack up in favor of the Hurricanes. And I love what you said there about the fact that they are very similar to an Ohio State team that everyone left for dead, that everyone
Yep.
a year ago thought wasn't going to make the playoff. They lost to Michigan, their last game of the season there, and you thought it was chaos and you thought it was all over. Did not play in their conference championship game. And what did Ohio State do? They marched through the playoff and won the national championship. So with that recent history, how can you not sit here and say, yeah, this Miami team is just as talented. This Miami team has the size, has the quarterback, has
Yep.
the this and that. Why not? And so I think that's the key, man. And the good thing for Miami is they can control that. They go to Blacksburg this weekend, big test with the environment and the weather. Then the last game of the season, They go to Pittsburgh, who Notre Dame just went to Pittsburgh. So that comparison, that game is going to be massive. And if they blow them out and hold, Pitt to 3 points or whatever it is and score 40 plus, that to me is all the evidence that you already should have, quite frankly, no matter what
Yeah.
the margin of
You have the
victory is
head-to-head. I think that, I
because
mean, at
of
the
the
end of the day,
head-to-head.
the head-to-head should matter. You have
And it
2
will. It will.
Miami's losses aren't god awful. I mean, they were 2 really quality football teams at the end of the day, in SMU and Louisville there. I the head-to-head has to mean something. I just don't know right now how you still jump 4 spots. Like,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, like, okay, they're inching closer and closer to that gap between them and Notre Dame, but now in between Notre Dame is Alabama, who obviously the committee views very high, who most likely, I mean, hell, maybe they lose the Iron Bowl, maybe they lose to Auburn,
Right.
but let's just say that what we anticipate happening is Bama winning out, BYU, Utah, I don't think is going to lose their last 2 games. BYU's in the Big 12 championship, and then obviously you have an ACC champion that's going to then jump Miami, and then
Mhm.
don't forget too, you have a Group of 5 team that's going to
Right.
jump. So really,
Right.
that 13th spot is like 15 for
Mhm.
Miami.
Mhm.
So
It's
like
definitely
I'm
a
just
race to 9. I mean, that's what you're racing to,
yeah, I
because
just
as
don't
you
know
just
how
mentioned.
Miami can possibly like right now. Like the wins against Virginia Tech and Pitt to me aren't going to be enough for them to just say, "Okay, we'll put them ahead of Utah, BYU, or Bama."
Well, they might just kick out Notre Dame. That's what I'm telling you. That's where it's getting
Why
close
wouldn't
to
they do that
where.
now, though?
That's a great question. That's a
I
great
just feel
question
like what
because
they're
they
not gonna just
should.
randomly do it, like, "Okay, now that we've given 2 more weeks and both these teams have just not really played anyone of significance, like, neither one of them have ranked teams left on their
Mhm.
schedule,
Mhm.
that we're just going to magically decide, like, 'Oh, now's the time to move Miami up and Notre Dame back.'"
You are living in a world right now of common sense and facts, and I don't think the committee does. I don't think
Well,
they
I don't
live in that
agree
way.
once again, like, I
I
don't
agree
agree
with
with it.
you,
I think
but it's
Miami should be
starting to
in
be
above
flipped.
Notre Dame. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
right now, I don't see a path for Miami to get in, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They would need Alabama to lose. They would need maybe even Oklahoma to lose this weekend to
Mhm.
Missouri, which is possible. They would need some craziness to happen, honestly. I think Miami's gonna be on the outside looking in if things play out as they're probably projected to play out these
Mhm.
next 2 weeks,
Could be.
unfortunately.
Could be. I just think with if you have a really just game control win against Pittsburgh, better than what Notre Dame did, and you add that in with the head to head, it has to matter. It has to matter. Again, the integrity of this whole thing will become into question because these teams played on the field. And I know you're with me and on this side, but it makes no sense when a team has the exact same record, when they have the same amount of losses, the same amount of conference type affiliated wins, that you can't measure them differently. You just can't. So I'm fascinated to see what it looks like. You're right.
Yeah. Alright, we'll continue to talk about that one. I would love to see Miami in there. I mean, I know that I've been kind of biased towards Miami all season, but I do think that they are one of the most talented teams in America and a team that you would not wanna face in a playoff situation. Alright, that is that grouping. Next up, really not a lot to discuss here. This is kind of how we played it out. Ole Miss at number 6. I don't know why I have +6 there at Ole Miss. I don't think they moved up 6 spots. Um Let's erase that. Ole Miss at 6, Oregon at 7, Oklahoma moves up to 3 as expected after their very impressive win against Bama. Not we talked about Notre Dame at that number 9 spot. It kind of feels like Notre Dame is in. Just to be honest, it feels like Notre Dame gonna be 10-2. Notre Dame's gonna be in the playoffs. I just don't see a world in which they move back behind any of the teams that are behind them, unless obviously BYU wins the Big 12 championship. So
Mhm.
I like this 6 through 10. I think it feels pretty good to have Ole Miss, then Oregon, then Oklahoma.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no quarrels with 6, 7, and 8 at all.
Yeah. I honestly like Notre Dame more than Oklahoma, but that's just me. You and I go back and
Mhm.
you like Oklahoma
Mhm.
more. I like Notre Dame more. Obviously Oklahoma is a better probably strength of schedule than Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame overall is a more complete football team. But that's just being a little bit nitpicky there. All right, and then as expected, 5 down to 1. Texas Tech, UGA, Texas A&M, Indiana, Ohio State. Right now, let me ask you this question: based on the way Georgia's playing, who would you favor tomorrow? Because I feel like that has to be kind of a conversation when you're comparing two teams.
Mhm.
Because Georgia's got a great resume, A&M's got a great resume. Both of them, Georgia's probably actually A&M's resume is not that great, honestly. Besides their win against Notre Dame, Georgia has the more impressive resume. So Georgia's resume is better than A&M and Indiana. Obviously, they do have the one loss, which is against the number 10 team by 3 points. Who's the better team of those three?
Mm.
Georgia, better
Yeah.
resume, better wins. I would say he's playing better
Well,
than
you
the
don't
other
have a
two
better
right now.
resume because you have a loss, and they don't have losses. So that to
Better
me,
wins, I
is
guess. They have significantly better wins.
well, sure, but you have
Yeah.
you didn't pass
Yeah.
the test, and they've passed every test. So that to me, I'm super cut and dry when it comes to
So does it matter?
undefeated.
Does it matter what your schedule is? If you have a significantly harder schedule and you have one loss compared to a team that's undefeated, but the schedule is significantly less, you don't care?
Move to the ACC, Georgia, if you want to complain about that.
Move to the
Come
Big
on
Ten.
over. Come on over.
I saw a
Whichever
set
one.
today that
Whichever
the
one.
Big Ten is 4 total ranked victories this season
Yeah.
as a
Well,
conference.
I mean, we know who controls the rankings, so that's, is what it is. Is what it is. The SEC is also either really good or horrific. There's no middle. There's no competitive nature
Who?
in the SEC. Pull up the standings right now and tell me how many teams have 1 or 2 wins in conference. There's like
Is it
6 of
any
them.
different? Is it I would say the SEC top to middle is significantly more challenging than
There's
the
no
Big
middle.
Ten.
There's no middle in the SEC.
There is a middle.
It's just the bottom and the top. Everybody
No,
just gets
can
beat
you not say
down or
Texas is in the
wins.
middle? Texas is in the middle right now? Texas
Pull
is
up
not the
their
top.
standings. That's what I'm telling you. Look at it. It's crazy. I'll do it for you. I'll read it off for you.
I'm pulling
There's
it
no
up right now.
middle in the SEC. So you've got
Are you talking about
no
conference
wins,
ratings?
1 win, 1 win, 1 win, 2 wins, 2 wins, and then you've got 4, 4, 4, 6,
I mean, would you
6,
not
7, 7.
consider Tennessee, Missouri, Vanderbilt kind of
3
middle?
teams in the middle, and they're ranked. What other middle teams are ranked anywhere?
That's how good the middle is in the SEC.
Good.
Thank you.
Good.
Yeah, just that good. That damn good. Who would win right now? Georgia against A&M, Georgia against Indiana. Who would you favor?
I love Georgia right now. I do.
Okay.
I think they're good. I think they're so good.
Can that not be a part of the rankings though? Hey,
no,
yes,
hypothetical. See, and that's the thing too. I'm not throwing
I know.
hypotheticals in there. I'm not saying what matchup would be better. Handle your business and then let it happen in the playoff. Let's see it. I think that Georgia.
I think strength of schedule has to be a factor when you're determining this.
Sure, but you have a loss, so it's like another. You don't even get factored in. That's my thing. Like with the loss, but you're 4. What do you want? What are you complaining about? Where do you want Georgia to be?
To me, Georgia's in a great spot as obviously a Georgia fan.
And you're going to stay 4 because Ohio State and Indiana are going to play each other, and one of them.
Well, you'll probably move up to 3.
Yeah, Texas A&M or Texas Tech's probably going to end up being there, but then also Georgia might listen if Bama loses, which is very possible at Jordan Hare, excuse me, night game for that game. I think the first night game since a long time ago, maybe 14 or so. Georgia might have to play A&M in the SEC championship.
True.
And that would be fascinating if you have the top 4 literally playing in their conference championship game and 2 of those teams getting kicked out. 2 of those teams are not getting buys and they're being punished because they have to play.
Which is why I think we're going to eventually get to the point where this is a whole nother conversation.
Isn't that crazy though?
The conference championship are going to go away.
It hurts you. It
hurts you. You have to play another ultra competitive game.
Yeah.
With the chance of losing a bye.
Yeah.
While
getting
other
hurt,
teams
losing a bye, getting
hurt
at
home.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's terrible. It's terrible.
I think
you got to figure it out. And I don't know what that is. Like, is it
just not having conference championships?
But think of all the TV money that disappears. That will not happen. It's not happening. That is a huge
make the other teams below you in the SEC and Big Ten
play.
AC, everyone plays. Everyone has to play a game.
Maybe.
Everyone has to play an extra game.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting.
So make the number 3 play the number 3 of the Big Ten, or like mismatch the conferences. I don't know. You like the fact that some teams get to sit at home and do nothing and know they're going to be in the playoffs,
Yeah.
where another team has to get up for an incredibly competitive game
Yes.
with the chance of 50-50. One of those teams that
Right.
are considered one of the best in the country gets shafted.
Right. I mean, you're literally looking at Ole Miss, Oregon, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Utah, who probably Utah's not in right now, but you're looking at those, no ramifications, and honestly, might get bumped up to have a home playoff game if they're not already right
I
now.
still can't believe Utah's ahead of Miami. I think that's to me a
Stupid.
little
This
bit
committee's donkey, bro. They're terrible.
because like if BYU loses, Miami then go. Miami, I'm just trying to find ways to get Miami in. All right, that's enough of that. That's the rankings. Let us know your thoughts down below.
Okay.